You want answers?
What's that going to set up?
We've got to go to work.
It's the Strat Attack Show. But we're always wondering what the next two is.
Holy shnikes, it worked.
That's something I want to know about.
What's your name, scumbag?
Strat Attack Show.
We're on a mission from God.
Here's Rob Smith.
Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of Smith and Black, and if it's Tuesday, it's a Strat Attack show where we get in the urban assault vehicle and see what's going on. So we know we do have the Fed coming tomorrow, so a lot of things are going to be up in the air, but here's your SPY, and SPY still inside month, and so we're still cooking that, haven't broken that, still an inside week, but you can see the conflict, green on the week, red on the month, potentially the 3-2-2 day to finish that off, but we're going to let them open and see what happens, because we're watching a lot of financials, obviously, anything interest rate sensitive. So we'll see if we get anything out of FAS. Still closer to being a 2-2 week, albeit red on the month. But a lot of things closer to being to the upside on the weeklies. We can also watch the home builders, XHB, see what they want to do. Still an inside week there, still handling an inside month. And gold can move around with rates too, so we'll see how that goes. Gold, the 2-2 weaker to the downside on this gap down. So, like I said, we'll let them open. One of the things we're going to look at also is like we have a lot of inside days for tomorrow, like Facebook, and Facebook is an inside day. You've got ZM, PayPal, a bunch of things like that. But one of the things we talk about is when things occur. And so it's important to understand, like on 2-2 on a Tuesday, like we had today, all right, where SPY does this, reverses Monday, 2 down, 2 up, because that changes the continuity back to the upside, right? So just like that, on a Wednesday, we want to see the inside days because that means they haven't picked a direction for the week. So you can see ZM on the week has not picked a direction. That's an inside day on a Tuesday. So on Wednesday, they can finally try to see if they're going to go up or down for the week. You're just having less week to play with. But that's some of the things we want to look at. So another thing we want to look at is I like to show scans. Everybody likes to see the scans. So one of the things we want to look at coming into Wednesdays is how many things are taking out last week's highs, and is there a high concentration in there? Right, so you'll see Delta, you'll see American, Wells Fargo, that's financial, right? United Airlines, JetBlue. So all the airlines are doing that. However, they're down on the month, and we'll get to that in a second. So you can just go here, Walmart, and Walmart. If you go to Walmart here, you're going to see stuff like this. Walmart not only took out last week's highs, it's also a 2-2 reversal on the month, and that's the kind of stuff we're looking for, like car here, also the 2 down, 2 up reversal, and anytime all these things are green, you've got full time frame continuity to the upside, and that was a nice break here. That's above 203.12, trade 231.63, so not bad, and that's what we're looking for. You always want to have a nice major signal cooking for you. I mean, in force, but by that I mean once this goes 2-2 on the month, that's good all month. All right. Anytime you can find full time frame continuity, you got it. Right. So here was your 60 at the end of the day. Just off she goes. So real nice. Lily doing that as well here, and you can see that just having 4 nice weeks off of this. Here, the 2 down, 2 up on the month. So going back to some of the scans here, and we'll see what else we see in here besides the airlines. At Pfizer, let's see, Marriott, that tells us pandemics. We've got, let's see, Captain Sig, there's more retail, SIG. So then you can take a look at this and say, okay, well, let's take a look at the airlines. And what do we see? Hammer weeks that were in the video, right? But you're still down in the month. Right, so it's conflict, but you are trying to turn this around, and you're always looking at stuff like this. So a lot of times we're always willing to go both ways. It's just a matter of once they start going. And you'll see this here. There's your broadening formation, United Airlines. Now, as it come ripping through here, does it fail and come back down? Don't know yet because you still have this, all right? But now you've got some more distance to try and turn that week around to the downside. If you get a Delta here, to a lesser extent, taking that out. Still red on the month, though. All right, but once again, you're going to see these higher highs and the lower lows to keep an eye on. And we're always watching that broadening formation series, like so. So then we can go back to the scan and say, okay, well, to start off the week, who's taking out the downside? Okay, Exxon, Intel, MRO, Coop, we know RBLX still, so MRO tells us some energies with Exxon. So those things are going the other way. They've been our go-tos to the upside, but that's why every week and day is going to reconfirm what we know to be true about all this stuff, right? Slob, so much energies to the downside for this week, as you can see. And a whole bunch of Alcoa, PSX, there's Alcoa is going to be the inflation trade. You got Roku still down, PSX more, refiner more energy. Net still down. And D-Dog an inside day on a Wednesday. So D-Dog, let's take a look at that. Here. Inside day. But it was down yesterday. So the question is, does it reconfirm this? Or does it negate it by coming back up through? Right? Because you've hit exhaustion risk on the month. You can see this did its job to take that out. Made the lower low. Right? After the higher high. So the question, you can turn that around. So we got a lot of those inside days we're keeping an eye on. Then we go back to the Scanneroo. Say, all right, how do things line up on the month? There we go. Get the highs and the lows of the month. Okay. So, on the sell list, you can see you got some conflict because you got Delta up and down, right? So we know that. Rob Block's still puking. JP Morgan below last month's lows. That's something I want to know about coming into, coming into the Fed. Stuff like that. Morgan Stanley. A lot of these things had nice days today. Boeing still below last month's lows. Snow. ZM for now, but inside day. All right. PSX. Let's take a look at PSX on both lists. PSX below last week's lows. 2-2 monthly shooter down. You can look at like MPC. Go down the line, still an inside month, so not hitting that as hard as the PSX has. Valero. Still doji, so it's not everybody. It's PSX exclusive. You see that inside day to the downside in Valero after last week's 2-2 reversal up. Now that negated that here, right? The inside day on a Tuesday and on Monday, and then boom, picked its direction to the downside. Go back to the Scanneroo. All right. See, there's a lot of things taking out last week's lows here. I mean, like last month's lows, still below last month's lows. But a lot of things countering, too, and coming back. So another thing we can do is just go to the upside. Okay, so you can see we got conflict because you got like Oxy and Rig and that kind of stuff, Chevron, above last month's highs, but then a lot of these things last week's lows. So a bit of a problem, and that needs to come around. And once again, you're going to see a couple that'll stick out like a Walmart that's on both lists, right? And that's ideally what we want. So we take a look at that. And then another thing we can do on Tuesday, I want to go in here and I want to see who's moving around the most. All right, this is going to show me for the week, this last 2 days, point gainers and point losers. So, let's see, we've got Melly booking, but these guys are big number guys, but Burrito's coming up, Amazon, so a lot of them big boy numbers. And Empower, that was in the vid today. And let's see what else we got here, TSLAs. Then you go in here and see if you got any conflict, what's going on here. Here's Tesla. So Tesla outside day. Still inside of the month is the problem. Potentially a 3-week, but we'd like to see you get a little deeper into that. And once again, there's our car. Sticking out, you've got NVIDIA. Take a look at NVIDIA, still red on the month though, right? So we know that tells us we can look at semiconductors. It still hasn't triggered on the week. So it gets more of our attention. You take this out. Above 230, 220. But it's just on the list of all these things that are moving up, right? We got Target in there, UNH, that tells us healthcare, right? So all that kind of good stuff. There's our Lily, and then if we go to the downside, who's puking? Okay, Coop we know on the big gap puker. IPI with down 12% today, so we know they're in trouble. At least to start off. PSA REIT, let's take a look. So PSA, I have that on the list today. It's PSA here in the week, taking the week down. It's 2-2 and potentially a 3-monther. So anytime it goes into exhaustion risk, then you can look for this because you're going to see these guys, the lower low and the higher high, right? There it is. And this tells us to look at EXR. Trade's very similar, not getting killed as bad, still an inside month. And then we got snow coming down. A lot of these guys did come back today, so they were down a lot worse yesterday. So that's what that tells us. These guys are up today, but down in the week. Okay, EXAS, there's a nice one. Let's take a look at that. Coming down, there you go. So you got some exhaustion risk. But when you go take a look at this, you know, you just keep seeing everything red, all right? That tells us we want to be going after this. Now, we prefer to be coming back to a previous range, but like something like this on the daily here, the 2 up and then boom, down she goes, right? So those are preferred entries like that. So that's just a few things we're looking at here, but how I go about what I'm selecting, right? And that's why we have 4 time frames up to see if you have conflict or if you're still inside on something, how close you are to the next 2. You're always going to hear me say, what's the next 2? So right now we 2'd up. And on the daily, as far as we know, we're a lot closer of taking out today's highs tomorrow than we are taking out the lows. But that's why we play the game. Where are they going to open? Are they going to gap? A lot of conflict out there with weeklies and monthlies is a bit of a problem, and that's somewhat what we can expect when you have a lot of inside months, right? The back and forth and the conflict and all that. And depending on what happens, then it's see you next month because that's also a new quarter, right? That's going to be important. That's a new quarterly break, plus you got inside months. And we got a lot of month left, so I'm not going to count our chickens before they hatch. But that's one of the things that we're always monitoring. Are we in conflict? What's the next 2, all right? So the weekly still got some acreage to go after to be a 2 up. But we'll see what the Fed says tomorrow. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Rob Smith, Mr. Black. With the Strat Attack Show.
You've been listening to the Strat Attack Show.
It's over.
That looks like I'm running out of time again.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
And now for something completely different.
Yeah. Did you get that memo?
Let's go to Billy Baroo. Here's where they're buying.
Oh, behave.
Here's where they're selling.
Oh, righty.
I'd keep an eye on this. Is that a problem? It is.
You just don't turn it off.
I'm Rob Smith.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
I'm Smith in the Black with the Strat Attack.